As you can see, kills the bend test. Tender as can be. Perfect brisket, perfect bark, perfect bite. You love to see it. Hey guys, Alonzo here with Gulf Coast Smoke, and today I'm so excited to bring you our very first YouTube video. So before I get into it, I do want to let you guys know I really appreciate the support that you've been showing me on Facebook and Instagram. I wouldn't be trying this today without you guys, so again, I really appreciate that. What I basically want to do with this channel is I want to bring you guys along ride with me. Every single weekend I cook, and I want to show you guys how I do it, who I cook with, instant feedback with some reactions, and just so much more on this channel. So if you want to, click subscribe, hit the little bell. You can be notified every time I put out a new video. It would mean a lot to me. But now into this. What we're going to be doing today is a 20-pound Wagyu beef brisket. Shout out to my favorite butcher in Rockport, Texas. You know who you are. This piece of meat is looking absolutely righteous. I cannot wait to see how this tastes in the end. We're going to go ahead and trim this up. We're going to get the pit ready. We're going to rub it. We're going to cook it. We're going to drink some beer. We're going to have some fun. And we're going to show you how we cook the Gulf Coast Smoke way. So come on in a little bit closer. Let's start to trim this bad boy up. First and foremost, what I want to do here is, this is a backyard brisket. We're not trimming for competition or anything like that. But I do really want to make sure that this hard fat right here that doesn't usually render out, what that means is it basically doesn't melt out and it won't taste very good. I definitely want to get this trimmed as well. So we're going to go through that process, and then I'm going to show you guys what we're going to rub this with, and I think you're going to be pretty surprised. Now on the flat here, you definitely do want to keep some fat. You know, rule of thumb is 1/4 inch of fat on the flat, and again, that's going to be where you get your lean slices out of. So just a few tips, a few things to look for, and yeah, now that we've trimmed this brisket up exactly how we want it, we're going to go ahead and season it. And just so you guys know, this is going to be a Texas brisket today, so we're going to keep the seasoning extremely simple. What I actually want to do, number one, shout out my buddy Sebastian Quintanilla at BBQ Fiends. If you have Instagram, go ahead and follow him here at BBQ Fiends. He puts out great stuff. This is just salt and pepper mixed up, but I used the bottle he gave me. He actually was making some rubs, which turned out really good, by the way. Be on the lookout for those soon. But this is just 50-50 salt and pepper. This is actually coarse salt and coarse black pepper, and that's what we're gonna season up with. Now, one thing that a lot of people go back and forth on is if you need a binder or not for your brisket or for any type of meat. I personally like to use one just to make sure that the rub does stick and adhere to the meat properly. So I use Worcestershire sauce, and that, like I said, that's what I like to use. I don't use too much, just enough to get the meat a little bit wet so that rub sticks right to it. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and get this whole thing rubbed down with some Worcestershire sauce, and then we'll show you how we're going to season it. Now that we're done putting Worcestershire sauce all over our brisket, we're going to go ahead and start to season it. And again, this is Texas brisket, salt and pepper only. You can hit it with a decent amount. It is a large piece of meat. You're not really going to over season it unless you just, you know, cake it on. But you definitely want to put a decent amount on there, and you want to make sure that you get all the surfaces. As you can see, we're all seasoned up. Like I said, this right here, I cut out nothing but fat right there. And that's just personally the way I like to do it, guys. Like I said, you don't have to do it that way. But I personally don't think that this renders out, and it doesn't taste very well. So I prefer to get rub closer to the meat. So in the end, you get bark on more meat. But like you can see, this brisket is rubbed down. It is ready to go. So let's go ahead and head out to the Weber Smoky Mountain. So we have the Weber Smoky Mountain 22 set up for the Minion Method today, and I'm not actually going to go through a tutorial on that. There are a lot of channels out there that will show you how to do it. If you are interested, we can save that for a later video. But what I do want to show you guys is how I'm going to set up the chimney here for this Minion Method. Now normally what you'll do is you'll actually put the coals in the large part of the chimney here, giving you a lot of hot coals so you can use it on the bottom of something like a Weber kettle or maybe even like a PK grill. But today we're actually going to flip it upside down and use this small section here to light up about 15 briquettes, so we could put it right in the middle of all these coals and slowly burn outward. That's what the Minion Method is. That's what we're going to be doing today. So I'm going to get these coals lit. I'm going to throw them right in the middle. We're going to get our water pan filled up, and we're going to get ready to throw this brisket right on. So now that our coals are good and hot, what we're going to do is we're going to dump these right in the middle of that little bowl that we created earlier. And let the smoke roll. Got the Weber Smoky Mountain running at 275 degrees. We use that Minion Method that I just showed you, and we're ready to rock and roll on this brisket. 275 degrees is going to be the temperature I use the whole way through. So what I do want to talk about real fast is this thin blue smoke that's actually coming out of the smoker. It's almost like transparent. You can see it, but it's not quite there. It's not a thick white smoke, and that's actually a good thing. So when you have thin blue smoke, transparent smoke coming out of your smoker, that means you're burning a clean fire. So right now I'm burning a clean fire. All's looking good to go. If you're ever smoking meat and you notice a thick white smoke coming out of your smoker, that's time to check on your coals, check on your wood, check on whatever fuel you're using, and make sure that everything is going well. That's usually an indicator that you're not getting enough oxygen, airflow in there to get that wood to combust, or you're using bad wood overall. So let's move on. Let's put this brisket on the pit. So it's been about 6 hours since I put this brisket on, and what I want to do now is I just want to check it and see how it's looking. Oh yeah, and that's absolutely what I want to see right there. You can see that brisket, the color on it is coming along so nicely. That salt and pepper does wonders without a doubt. You can see that it's drying up in a few little spots like right here, but that's okay. Like I said, we can hit that with a little bit of water. Nothing crazy. And we can let it keep going. So I actually don't think I'm going to wrap it just yet. I do like the color, but I wanted to get a little bit more bark formation. So let's go ahead and put the lid back on and let it keep rolling. It's been a good 8 hours on this brisket, and I know that it's around the stall time. Right now, internal on the brisket, I'm showing 174, and it's been sitting around that 170, 174 range for a little bit now. So I know we've reached the stall. The stall is when your meat actually essentially stops cooking, and it's actually tightening up so much that it's not really moving past a certain temperature. Now, with the stall, if you ever run into that, don't be worried. Just keep pushing through, keep cooking. If you're interested in wrapping your brisket, now's a great time to wrap. If you wrap your brisket in foil, we call that the Texas crutch, and it actually helps push past that stall extremely fast. What I'm going to be wrapping today with is some pink butcher paper. So let's go ahead and take this lid off, take a look at the brisket, make sure we do want to take it inside, and go on and wrap it up. You can see this is exactly where I want it. The bark formation, the way the brisket's looking, it is smelling delicious. Hasn't dried out in those areas I was talking about earlier because we did keep spritzing it, but it's got a nice color on it. So right now, I'm happy. I want to get this wrapped up with some pink butcher paper. Let's go inside. I'll show you how we're going to do that. Alright guys, so we've got the brisket inside now, and we're going to go ahead and wrap it. So what we are choosing to wrap it today with is some pink butcher paper. And like I mentioned outside, some people do wrap with foil. We call that the Texas crutch. But today I'm going to go ahead and use this pink butcher paper. It allows me to retain that bark that I've worked so hard for, and also retains moisture within the meat. And I'm really confident that this thing's going to turn out really good. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. It's as easy as it sounds. Wrap it as tight as you possibly can, end over end until you're done. Let's get it. And really, that's perfect for me. This is gonna go right back on the smoker. I'm gonna put my probe back into the thickest point of the flat, and we're gonna make sure that this thing gets tender as can be, and we'll show you that here in just a little bit. So we put this brisket on at 3 a.m. Right now it's around 1:40 in the afternoon. So we've been rocking for almost 11 hours now. As you can see, my Weber Smoky Mountain did its job. It's still holding at 268 degrees, and the internal on my brisket in the largest point of the flat is at 204. So what I want to do to verify that is I actually want to use my Thermopin to probe the meat and make sure that it feels like warm butter going in and out. So after we're done with that, we'll just rest the brisket for at least an hour and a half in my cooler, and then we'll come back and we'll show you how we slice it. But for now, let's see if the brisket's ready. Oh yeah. As you can see, it's reading 203 here, matching up pretty much perfectly with my smoke over there. Feels like butter going in and out. Let's get this brisket off. Let's get it rested. We smoked this brisket here for about 12 hours. As you can hear, winds are going crazy here in Portland, Texas, but it doesn't matter. This is just what we do. Kind of like the shirt says, we're going to cut into this right away and we're going to see how it turned out. It feels really nice. It has a nice little bend to it. I know it's going to turn out good. So let's see what it looks like. Oh man. All right. Get a close up of this brisket real quick. Shout out to my cameraman. Look at that bark. I have a couple friends with me today. Like I said, that's what the channel is going to be about. This is exactly what we do on a weekly basis. We're not changing anything up. We're just bringing you along for the ride. So let's start slicing. It feels tender. It feels tender. Look at that. That's the end piece, man. That's the end piece. It's feeling so good already. Oh yeah. I mean, it's looking righteous. 11 hours. Weber Smoky Mountain, Post Oak. We are from Texas. That's what we do. Moisture through and through. You see some fat there. Let me get a quick taste.
Master privileges.
I mean, that's not a fake reaction. This is the real deal. This is absolutely delicious. I'm gonna slice the rest of this up. I'm gonna share it with my buddies, and I'll be back with you in a minute. Dude, as you can see, kills the bend test. Tender as can be. Perfect brisket, perfect bark, perfect bite. You love to see it. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to my very first YouTube video. Sorry about cutting that slicing part short. The wind and the rain did pick up, so I had to move the party inside, and it just got a little bit hectic. But you need to know two things. Number one, that brisket turned out so good. The bark, the bite, the bend, everything was absolutely perfect. Now, number two, you need to know what I did with the leftovers. So come on in a little bit closer. I want to show you these brisket enchiladas that I just put together here in my kitchen with that leftover Wagyu beef brisket, homemade flour tortillas, enchilada sauce, cheese, peppers, the whole thing. You can find this recipe and all the recipes we're going to be putting out this year at GulfCoastSmoke.com. Thanks so much for the support. We'll see you in the next video.